Another one that I've been thinking about a lot is like we were discussing a little bit before the show started about certain teachers that kind of want to use ultimate ultimate fun kind of being the motivator, and then if you looked at it as a silly spectrum of, you have the like drill sergeant Nazi, right, and then you've got the ultimate, oh good job, that kind of stuff. And like I understand, like, so I've been always thinking about like improv with my students, where if I, especially as classical people, if I get that wall down, they're done in a good way. Like I got them, if they can just get that fear wall gone. Well, I think the same thing. So I would imagine that the heavy motivator teachers would say, if I can just get them to have fun, then that wall is down and I got them. I would assume that they would look at it in that way. But my problem is that when I talk to those people, it's funny that for the last 45 minutes, they haven't said anything about their students actually getting good or not. You know what I mean? All they're talking about is that they're having fun.
Right.
And so to me, the fun as a motivator doesn't address the discipline problem. What do you think about that?
When I started taking lessons, I had the hardcore teachers. Mm-hmm. It's either right or it's not. Mm-hmm. If it's right, you will play with the band. If it's not right, I can't use you. Mm-hmm. So now you probably can't really get away with that in today's times, mm-hmm. but there are other ways around this, and this is fun. This is what I do with my students. Here's an assignment, okay? You understand it? Good. I'm going to write the date on this. This is the date that was given to you. Mm-hmm. Okay, you need to have this next week, because next week I want to write something else and put another date on it. Mm-hmm. If we're not getting it, you're facing that date. You're looking at it all the time, and it's like, oh man, I gave that to you a month ago, and we're nowhere near it. Got to work on that. We can't go this long not getting stuff. Mm-hmm. Do my students like that? I don't think so. And if I asked them, maybe a few would be bold and tell me, but it's the truth. Yeah. It reinforces, hey, mm-hmm. you were given this on this day, learn it. And with me, I like to give them things that they can achieve in a week. I tell them, mm-hmm. here it is, you'll have it next week. But saying that means they're practicing at least an hour a day. Mm-hmm. And you can tell when a student comes into a room by the way they walk. They sit behind. You can tell. Right? Yeah, you can tell. My students that get it, they come in there. Yeah, my students that get it, they come in there. All right, here we go. Yeah. The ones that don't get it, man. There's always a little conversation that they want to have. It's like, oh, okay.
Stalling.
Yeah, and at some point I tell them about that. Once I keep them for a while, I tell them about that. So when you just want to talk about why you can't do this, that tells me that you really can't do it. Mm. And then I give them the real world situation. So would you do that on a gig? Oh, you come to a lesson, you forget your drumsticks? That's like going to the gig. You got your kit already set up, no sticks. How's that going to work out? Mm. Yeah. So I give them a little bit of the real world. Right. But getting back to the lessons, I put dates on there. Mm. Also, we have a lot of technology today. So I'll set the phone up and record them when they play. Mm-hmm. And it was like, yeah, I nailed it. I got it. Okay. Now I'm going to play this back. You're going to watch it. Mm-hmm. And then they just look and go, oh, wow, okay. I had that section, but I was nowhere near that section. Mm-hmm. Say, man, if you film yourself doing practice, I bet you'll clean up a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It works for me. Yeah. If I see a performance of myself that's just horrible, and I can find a mistake on everything I've ever done, I'm like, go, what are you thinking? Never do that again. Do more of that. Don't you think about doing that again. Yeah. And I give that to the students. That's how we get that motivation, and that's the fun, getting it down. Right. Getting your stuff down. That's the fun, not making excuses. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, if they're playing something, then they stop. It's like, wait a minute. You forgot when you come into the room, it's showtime. You're on stage. Mm-hmm. If you make a mistake, you better keep going. Mm-hmm. The band's going to just leave you, man. Mm-hmm. Keep going. So that's how I get to them and make them enjoy. Like, man, if you get this, this is fun. When you play from beginning to end. This is fun. This is how you nail it.
Yeah.
And then keep that fire burning.
So you said for sure, and I tried to do this, and I need to do it even more. I tried to be pretty clear with them what I want, and you're talking about expectations with the date thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you were talking about making obviously achievable, like you said, something that they could do in a week. That's obviously a really good idea. The one that, back to the motivating stuff, because I'm always sitting here going like, why the hell are we here? Why are we sitting in this room right now? If they're not doing this, what is the whole point of this? And the only thing I can come back to is, somebody like myself starting at 3 years old, I'm not even good enough to play in Casey Symphony. You know what I mean? That's the NFL.
Right, yeah.
And so what the hell are we doing here? Why are we doing these lessons? And the only thing I can think of is all the non-musical things. And you just mentioned excuse making, so all these adult life lesson stuff is the only thing that I can come up with of why we're sitting here, of having the role model, the learning, the time management kind of stuff, the making excuses, the self-discipline, that, and so that it's really funny though, because what I actually almost want this to be a therapy session, pseudo-therapy, because every time I see a musical thing, I can always link it back to something like psychological or something life skills wise every single time. And so the issue to me is not, like, for myself, I mean, you're going to be the same way. You listen to something and you're going to hear 6 things like in the first 10 seconds, and you can keep them all track in your head. So you're like, okay, do I hit them on this? Do I hit what should, and you're just and you're sitting there thinking, but like, so I'm wondering, like, why, if that's what we're doing here, if it's not really for them to end up playing in Aerosmith or something,
Right.
If that's not the goal, then all of these other psychological things are the goal. But whenever I try to bring that up, that's the crap they don't want to hear, because they're like, this isn't therapy right now. This is, why don't we just have life coach, why don't we just have life coach hour, so like that's the. Maybe I'm just thinking too much about it,
No. That's cool.
What do you think about that? Like, I mean, is that...
Well, here's the thing. When I got into teaching, just to sound different, I took an ad in the pitch. I didn't want to say, hey, I'm a drum teacher. Hey, I'm a drum instructor. I picked the word counselor.
Yeah.
And drum counselor. Not knowing what I was setting myself up for. Because there's been those days, you get a female student come in, throw the books down, go. Yeah? Why do boys suck? Like, this is about drum. Oh, man, you are at that age. Why are you... Okay, I gotta give you the right advice so we don't have to go through this again.
Yeah.
And I kind of set myself up for that. So at some point, you gotta ask that student, hey, man, why are you here? And sometimes I'll ask that on day one. Why are you here? Why do you want to take drum lessons? And you just have to address things where within that lesson you give them, okay, you got to practice. You got to find time to practice. Practice it right, really pay attention to what you're doing. That reinforces probably stuff they hear in school, for drummers, sit up straight, no slouching. Did you really mean that? Okay, is that correct? That kind of thing.
Right.
Are you sure about it? Can you do this at any given moment? And for some reason, a majority of my students, I'd say at least 95%, they understand that I'm coming from a different place. Yes, music lessons, that's what it is, but there's also life lessons in there.
Yeah.
So you gotta ask your student, okay, why are we here? Why are you here? I know why I'm here. Why are you here?
That's the thing that I've been trying to do, because I unfortunately like to talk so much that I always tell them, I'm like, okay, this was good, that was bad, and you're making a great point about, no, I'm not going to tell you, you're going to watch. And then so I've been trying to do that more. I'm like, so how'd you do? And it's not even, and of course I feel a certain way about however they just played, but I mean, I'm trying to get them to be very, very descriptive, and it was good. Yeah, I mean, well, that's not helpful.
Exactly.
And trying to make them describe, like you just said, okay, the chorus of the song, I was late, but the rest of it was, I'm like, okay, good, let's go right to the chorus, etc.
Let's get that worked out.
Right, and exactly, not kind of,
Yeah,
exactly
get
what,
it.
and so like I've been trying to do that with have them tell me how they did, and like, so do you think that plays into that self motivation? Because see, that's my problem, is that I know that's the end goal. The end goal is the self motivation.
Yes.
But my problem is when I get the second grader, that's not happening. They're not going to have self motivation. You've got to kind of help, you've got to be their motivation that age. But then I can't adjust. I need to do better at like adjusting to that, and you know what I mean. Like
I hear you, man. I have a young kid. He's I believe he's starting third grade now, and he takes an hour with me.
Wow.
Yeah, and he KJ Mace. Oh, he's a go getter. Yeah, he means business.
Could be a monster.
Yeah,
huh?
and and he gets to sit in with local bands in Kansas City.
Wow.
He's allowed to play a drum solo. Then he'll play a song. And with him, I was trying the whole discipline thing, and then I just tapped into what he was all about. Then we sneak in the discipline lessons.
Right.
And just recently, he played a very well constructed drum solo. I gave him some ideas. It's like, okay, you can start this way, you end this way. Okay, this section. Enough about me. What can you add to these two sections right here? What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Put a camera on. Okay, play it. Watch it. Play it again. Watch that.
Right.
Yeah, he killed it. And the biggest takeaway from the lesson, he went behind the drum kit, and as the band was announcing him, he didn't noodle. He didn't make any noise.
Yeah.
He just sat there. He
Yeah.
looked at the drums. He did this to make sure things are in place. He wasn't tapping during the whole thing. That was his thing before that. But
Right.
I've got a little bit of discipline in him, just a little bit more. And it's amazing. And
See, that's non-musical, right? That
There
has
you go.
nothing to do with music right there.
Yeah.
That's just straight up discipline.
discipline.
Of him just,
Yeah, he's waiting,
Yeah.
and he in his mind he knows. Okay, when they say my name, once they're done saying my name, begin. They said his name, small pause, monster.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's
wow,
awesome.
And I just told him about that the day of his performance.
Right, yeah.
That was part of the lesson.
Right. Yeah,
And-
you talked about that. Yeah.
He
yeah,
took
yeah,
it and
yeah.
ran with it, and then I heard from his mom. She loved it, and I can't wait to review his performance with him.
Oh,
'Cause
sure.
This time, I think he'll be telling me, okay, that was good, Go-Go, but now that part I can do better.
Right.
He's like, how old are you again?
Yeah, I know. That
Man,
he's
people
acting,
3 times your age, I can't
Yeah.
get them to do this.
he's acting like an adult.
Right.
He's acting
He's
mature
getting
right
it.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is getting
That's
it.
awesome, man.
So, yeah, man, ask your student, why are we here? And they should be able to answer that no matter what age, And kids are honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
And you tell them that I want your honest
Yeah,
answer.
I wanna
I don't
have
want bullshit.
fun.
You
Yeah.
tell me what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your mom make you? That's an answer.
Exactly.
It's relevant. Yeah.
That's their time. They can express themselves. Yeah, did your mom or dad make you? Are you having fun doing this? Do you really want to do this? And then you kind of tailor your lesson around that.
Yeah.
But you can do it in a way where you still get all the main points you want to get in,
Right.
but yet they're having fun.
Right.
And before you know it, they're just doing stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always a couple exceptions. You just gotta say, "Hey, I did my best, and I couldn't reach that student, but I got this group of students over here.
Right.
I'm gonna run with it."
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So.